gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up. A lot of these conversations just even be disingenuous because, these women. It's first of all, it's only one demographic of women that talk about a man being a 100% financial provider for him to be a provider. Um, Caucasians, Asians, Hispanics, and other groups of people. The man doesn't have to be 100% provide financial provider for him to be considered a provider. But for one specific group of women
Oh.
in 2023, even though they grew up without their dad or their dad was in and out of their life, um, and they grew up with a mom that was working 2, 3 jobs, to take care of them. All of a sudden, because of women on the internet, this is the crazy thing, Dev. These women, these women would rather be 100% responsible for the financial obligations of their life than have a man come in and take at least a 50% load off of them. It's crazy.
Noble, I have to say, as an older woman, I, I don't know about the shade about being an older woman, but I never even heard prior to the internet and or even when I went to college, I never heard of women thinking that they had to pay anything toward their household contributions prior to going to college. That was a new thing for me. And I'm black, full black, always been black. So I don't know if that's just us or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I never heard that until I went to college, and I was shocked when I heard it when I went to college. I was like, "Wait, what? He wants me to pay what? That's weird."
Brit. So in America, and I'm not just talking about African American women, I'm just talking about women in general. Um, whether the woman has a child, whether she doesn't have a child or children, if she's living with a man in America, out of 10 women, how many women on average do you think are actually contributing financially to your household? So do you think it's 7 to 9 women that are actually contributing financially to their household, or do you think it's 1 to 2 women and eight to nine women are not contributing financially to the household?
So I'll say what I think should be happening. I think that out of 10 women, 10 should not be considering
I think that's not what I
contributing to
asked
the
you, bro.
household if they are some girlfriend living with some man.
That's not
I
what I
mean,
asked you,
and
Britt.
honestly, my friends who know me, if I could pull them up on this live and call them and wake them up and make sure they're here, they would know that because they're even scared to call me to tell me that they're living with a man and splitting bills because it's so outside of my understanding of that being normal. That they would be like, I'm living with him. We about to get married. He paying the bills. Like they'd be stuttering at me because they're scared
Britt,
to even say that to me because it sounds so odd.
Britt, that's not what I asked you. Let me ask you the question again.
I don't know what I think about that.
No, let me ask you the question again. In America, and again, I am not just talking specifically about African American women. I am talking about women in general. Women that are living with a man, whether they are living in a house, whether they are living in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, whether they are living in a condo, whether they are living in a high rise, whether they are living in a townhome. Do you think what percentage of women do you think out of 10 women, how many women do you think are contributing financially to their household? Do you think 1 second, do you think 7 to 9 are contributing financially to the household, or do you think 1 to 2 are contributing financially to the household?
Okay,
And
so
this is amongst all demographics of
all
women.
amongst all demographics, but not limiting between 7 to 10 and 9 to 10 because that's very limiting to give me a response. I'm saying from my perspective, and I thought I gave it my bet. I legit would think would be zero. But that's not what it is, unfortunately, right? Because people are blindsided and lied to, whatever. But unfortunately, it probably is close to, mm, for all demographics, uh, the reality may be closer to 8 to 10, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that's unfortunately.
It's not, unfortunately. It
Why
is what
not?
it is. It's the reality of the world.
But
What? Okay,
why
okay,
is that
okay, Britt.
reality not unfortunate? That's like saying if we were in like 1600 and we talked about how many slaves there were, and I said the number of slaves there were, you would say, and I would say that's unfortunately, and you said it's not unfortunate because that's the world we live in. That's not true, right? It's a bad stat. A bad stat is a bad stat. It's unfortunate. It doesn't help anybody by women being ultra contributors to their households financially while still needing to bear the children physically. That is not a positive stat. It does not help us.
Yeah. I can see what y'all are both are saying. So Noble, you're essentially saying like given the current economy that we're living in, it's almost impossible for a man to be able to be the sole provider of a household, right?
Okay, let me ask both of you a question. Do the both of you know there is one demographic of people that for both men and women, they earn on average the least amount of money annually in this country. Would both of you happen to know what group of people that is?
I would think it was black men and black women.
Okay,
Hispanic.
would you happen to know on average um what black men and black women currently on average, even dating back to as recent as last year, earn, just the average black man or black woman, not Noble, not Brit, not Dev, just the average black man or black woman. Would any of you happen to know, even if you could give me a range on average, what how much they make on an annual basis?
I would say like 50K or less.
It is 50K or less, but it's if you can give me like a $3,000 range, would you happen to know what that is?
Or what?
A 3,000, if you can give me like a $3,000 range, would you happen to know, could you give me it is less than 50K, but could you give me like a with the $3,000 range, like whether you say 47 to 50, or could you give me that?
Oh yeah, probably like between 37K to maybe 45K.
Yeah. That's that's good. I would say like 41 to 44 or 42 to 45. So that is the average black man and the average black woman. So I want y'all to tell me if the average black man and the average black woman are making between 42 and 45K annually before taxes. Why would a black woman, especially a black woman in that socioeconomic bracket, why would she expect to be with a black man? But even every other demographic for that matter, but let's just talk about black men right now. Why would she expect to be with a black man that's going to provide 100% financially for her?
Well, I mean, that would be the hope, right? To for listen, Devil, listen. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I do. I truly do. But what basically what we're saying is it would be nice if we got to a point in this economy where men are the sole providers and women are able to stay home and take care of the kids and take care of the household and not have to worry about working. Unfortunately, we no longer live in that reality anymore, like our grandparents did, where the women were able to stay home and the man was a sole provider. But what we're saying is we'd like to maybe get back to that, if that is a possibility. Because, like what Chris Twilight is saying, what did he say? He made a comment. The government wanted women to get out of the house so they can raise prices.
Dev, it would be, yeah, keyword would. It would be, but again, that's the delusion that I'm like, I don't like, I have my delusional ways about me. I have my delusions, but for the most part, I live in reality. I don't live in a hypothetical world.
Mhm.
So even for me, I have to work for majority of my money. I have to work for like 95 to 99% of, my money. You know,
Mhm.
um, I got a YouTube channel that I make money on, and that's gonna continue to grow, and that's gonna be so big one day that I'll be making 6 7 figures off of that. But for the most part, right now, as I'm talking to you right now, I do have to work. I
We
have to
didn't fight
I
for
have to
nothing,
earn I
super
have to
villain.
earn I have to earn my money for the most part right now, and that is just the reality for 99% of people.
I agree.
95 to
I
99.
agree. Is my mic on?
Yeah, your mic is
Yeah,
on.
it's
Oh,
on.
okay. I didn't know if it was on that.
Go ahead, Britt.
No, yeah. So, oh my God, Jeremy said, he's sleeping. Anyway, he's right here, but he's asleep. Um, so those stats include people from ages of 18 to 65. So I think, and from all walks of the United States, from the most expensive cities to the least expensive cities. So I think that's something important to consider um, in terms of wages, right? So even for myself as a person who's a landlord and I have properties in various income levels, I'm not going to have my tenants in rural South pay the same prices as my tenants in the North. So to talk about income and ability to provide is extremely relative, extremely subjective. And someone at 50K in a very rural area may be able to carry his entire family, but they will not be able to carry their entire family where I live. So I think that's important to consider.
I'm not
Number
disputing
one.
that, Britt.
Huh? No, I think it's important to consider, and it's something that people leave out of out of conversation. And you don't always have to have someone to make six figures in order to support the entire family. That's number one. And depending on where you are. Okay, so if you are a woman who lives in the rural South, you could have someone who makes 75K and they can take care of you and multiple children and you stay home with the children and everything be hunky dory. But you cannot do that in New York City. Okay. So I think that's important to consider.
Britt, I'm not disputing what you're saying at
Yes.
all.
And when we say averages, we are actually disputing that because averages can be median, mean, or mode. And a lot of that can be distorted.
Britt, you're like, and I say this respectfully, you're like 9 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I am telling you is that woman in a certain demographic, again, I'm not going to say what demographic, if you know, especially younger women, they don't want to be with you know, when we talk about a man that's especially like a
Mm-hmm.
childless man that's making X amount of dollars, and
Mm-hmm.
or even if he does have a kid, but he's living in a certain area. Okay, so like you talked about rural South, right? The point that I'm trying to make is these women, if they want to talk about a man being a 100% provider, um, a woman of a certain demographic, they don't want to be with a man that, is living in a one bedroom apartment. They don't want to be with a man that's living in a studio somewhere,
No.
and have them and have and if they were to move into that studio with him, if they
Right.
were to move in that one bedroom apartment with him,
Mm-hmm.
he would be able to, the same way he's taking care of himself right now, he would be able to comfortably take care of them. But they
Oh,
don't, they
oh,
don't, but,
oh
but,
my
but
God.
wait. The point that I'm trying to make is they don't see any value in that man. They don't deem that man value to be in a relationship with, because he's not able to have them in the 6,000 square foot home. He's not able to have them in the, instead of the one bedroom apartment, he's not able to have them in the 4 or 5 bedroom home. He's not driving X car. He's not only is
Noble,
he not
res-
only is he not only is he not able,
respectfully, res-
not only is he not able.
respectfully, no, Noble, respectfully though, when I was 21, first of all, I'm not moved. My parents would just rolled over and died. If I moved in with anyone I wasn't married with, that's step one. And step two, um, there is no way. If he is trying to get married, he wants me to somehow fit into his single lifestyle. And I'm supposed to be cool with it. Like, you're supposed to be leveling up. So if you're leveling up, like, you're having me move into your next level, because now you can afford the next level. Not like, oh, I love her. She cute. She satisfies my needs. So now she needs to fit in my one bedroom studio for X amount of dollars. That's you not even trying. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't, no. Like, I'm sorry. That wouldn't have worked for me.
What I'm
I
trying
don't
to
care what the chat say.
Listen, I told Norton he either gets a baby or a paycheck because at the end of the day, I'm not working and having a kid too. So
Because having a kid is work.
I
Check
know
my
it is.
page.
Like, yeah,
It's work.
like he
It's
gets a
work.
baby or a
It's work.
paycheck.
It's money, and especially if you want to. If I mean, it just depends on what these men want. Like, you want legacy. Like, you want like kids. Like, you can be like like disinvolved. They got things going on, or you want excuses.
Yeah,
It's just like, what do you want? You
because I'm not
know,
sending my kid to daycare so
hey,
he or
period.
she can learn all these bad habits from all these other kids and get sick.
Period. You gotta follow my pace. I don't do that.
Yeah,
I got my kids speaking multiple languages. I don't do that. So it's like, at the end
yeah.
of the day, it's kind of like, what do you want? What do you want? It doesn't make sense. Um, if someone said, "Hey, I love you so much. You're so cute. Come live in my studio apartment," I would think they weren't being serious. It's like, you don't really love me for real, because you're not even trying to set a situation up where if we got married, we had a kid, and I had another child, like, there's no room for that child. There's no space for my mom to come up and help me with the child, and I have assistants, and like, you support that, and you're not even thinking about family. You're not, oh, your mom come up and support us and be a family unit. I don't know. I'm just very family oriented. So, like, have the space. I know it's very, very cumbersome in the United States to have the space, but at the same time, like, don't make excuses, because you can make money on the internet. Like, you are a Noble, right? It's like, you talk about the YouTube thing. Like, just like, I don't even want to hear about, like, oh, my job, blah, blah, blah. Stop. Like, just like, try to do something else. Try to add something else. Like, you want this lifestyle or not? Period.
But Britt, you prove my point. Everything that you said just now was everything was at the behest of the man. And look, I'm not gonna
But
say what.
I'm coming in a certain caliber. Period.
Look, I'm not gonna
And
say what specific group of women, but again, I'm trying to tell you guys, a specific group of women, majority of them do not have a partnership mindset. Okay, they do not
oh
have a
my God, who's this
partnership
person? Like, they
mindset.
don't care, Noble. Listen, Sue. What's your name? Anyway, you have no idea what it takes to raise up a proper village. Some they don't care. They do care. And that's the reason why we're talking about being supported, because it takes every single last ounce of us to be able to raise the next generation in order to be legit, like amazing. So if you aren't ready to have amazing kids, just say that. Just say, you know what? I want a mediocre wife, mediocre kids. I'm ready for the mediocre life. Period. Just say that. Don't say they don't want to listen. Just say, I want mediocre. Period. Otherwise, all these other people who want certain things with their kids, their family, their wives, it's not free in America unless you want to live in rural South. That's why I said, listen, I got tenants to live in real South. Go ahead, live where they live. Matter of fact, DM me. I got some places you can live. Matter of fact, I got something thrown. Listen, because I need the bread. Give it to me so I can use that to pay for this private school. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I don't want to hear the sob stories. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of sob stories. I can't take it. I'm grown. I can't do it. The only sob stories I'm listening to is my kids talking about who hit who. That's it.
No, but I have a question for you.
So
You said you wanted children, right?
yeah, I'm gonna have children one day.
You want children, okay. So when you do get married and you decide to have kids, would you prefer your wife to stay at home and take care of the kids, or would you want her to go out and work and then have the kids be at daycare? Like what would be your preference?
My like my okay, to directly answer your question, then I'll elaborate. My answer to your question is the former. And that's why I'm, one day I am going to be married, one day I am going to have a family. But I do aspire to be a 100 I do aspire to be a man that can provide for my family financially 100%. Um I do aspire to be that man. And that's why I'm putting in the work right now to put myself in a position to be able to do that. Um, I think as a woman, I think women should want to be with a man that when they are pregnant, they don't have to work, so they can have the most healthy pregnancy possible. I think women should want to be with a man that when they do give birth, to a child, they can be with their child during those formal years or whatever, because not only do people not want to pay for daycare, people, you can only trust you can only there's only a handful of people that you can really trust your children with, right? Because people are crazy out here. People will abuse your kids. People will do very bad things to your kids. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you should want to be with a man that can enable you to have you in that position. But what the reality is, again, I'm not talking about again, I'm talking about the reality of things. The reality of things is that, and y'all can, in Texas, in Jersey, y'all can go somewhere tomorrow. Y'all can go to a store. There's gonna be some woman at the checkout that's pregnant and she's working. Like, the reality is that, majority of women that are pregnant are working. Majority of women that, when they do give birth, if their job has maternity leave, is that what it is? Maternity leave for women?
Mm-hmm.
Um, when they take their maternity leave, and then they gotta take their ass back to work. They
Yeah.
can't, majority of women are not in a position to be with their child for 2, 3, 4 years and they just not have to work, and their man be able to take care of everything. So again, I'm not
Yeah.
talking about this hypothetical world that y'all are talking about. I'm not talking about what would be ideal. I am talking about the reality.
Yeah.
And
But you
this
can